The only thing that's clear to me is that you've got an incredible challenge ahead of you in balancing all these varied interests. California is diversified not only in the number of crops and livestock things that it produces, but also in the different ways that we want to produce it.
Looking to the future it can be difficult, and as we've seen for generations, the only thing that remains constant in agriculture is that things always continually change.
Our children need to see where and how their carrots are grown. Our city folks need to reconnect to the environment and living land in new or perhaps old and better ways. Our farmers need to feel appreciated for their commitment and contributions while benefiting from a stabilized food system.
We are what we eat, they say, individually and collectively. Improvements in our diet and the quality of our food will make us a better state and a better nation, just as improved education has. Like education, food quality has to be a state priority, not simply an individual short-term economic decision.
We have to get agriculture education away from being something that you go over to the back of the schoolyard to learn about. It needs to be within the web of life of every single student in every single discipline at every single level.
I can't envision an agriculture in 2030 that doesn't have us supporting agricultural education in California.
If any of you have ever seen what they do at schools in France, it's kind of weird. When the teachers come to a PTA meeting, they argue about the quality of the lentils that have been served to the children. They don't want to talk about the curriculum. And the children actually sit down and are served a 3-course meal. So, you know, we teaching our kids about food, teaching them the values of food and how we come together as community around food, I think is something I would like to really see.
We have to have a partnership with science, industry, policy, and the consumer. We have to find those answers in all 4 of those arenas to be viable in 2030.
Because the future of agriculture depends on the consumer, and because the consumer seeks products grown and raised in California, we believe the marketing aspect of your work should be a primary, if not leading, component of your strategic planning.
I want to talk about the concept of family farming, because we are no longer an industry of family farming, but we need to consider ourselves a farm family. We have to look at the entire complex of agriculture in the state of California as a family, as we deal with the public and deal with public outreach and changing the attitudes amongst the public.
I think what we need to do is to partner up. We need to have farm workers at the table, not serving the tables, but being at the table, at the table.
Today, I come forward to share my story. I don't see this country being prosperous without agriculture and farm workers. Yet, I see it taking the lead on improving their lives and reducing the amount of pesticides used. I hope that in the years to come, my people will still have their jobs and also enjoy of a healthy and safety environment.
Farm workers are the lowest paid workers in the country and too often cannot afford decent housing, infrastructure, education, health care, or other social services, despite their great need for them and our great need for farm workers.
I think what's important to understand is that when we talk about self-interest, it's about recognizing that it's our needs among everyone else's, and that it's not just me, or it's not just, farm workers that are in need, and it's not just growers that are in need, is that we all have challenges that we have to face.
The issue that I really want to talk to you about are conflicting regulations, conflicting policies. If we were to talk about what agriculture in California is going to look like in 2030, I would say maybe we don't really need to look at agriculture. What we really need to look at is government.
Unfortunately, what the average consumer does not realize is that many of the regulatory laws and rules that have been adopted at all levels through county, state, and federal government have been very detrimental to California farmers, the most regulated of any farmers in the world.
We're all in favor of a cleaner environment, but how do we make that work financially? We're all talking about right now how agriculture is getting smaller and smaller and the challenges that we have. Yet we in California are putting on burdens that are very difficult to absorb.
By 2030, environmental benefits provided by agriculture
will possibly shed light on the fact that true agriculturalists have been stewards of the land for centuries. And so the public perception will be improved by 2030 as new methods combined with old ways of conserving agricultural land will increasing quality yields.
We need a reliable water source around the delta that'll get to our state water pumps, and then we also need additional solid reservoir storage. If we want to get that, here's my recommendation. And I think that if every ag entity, I was an ex-nurseryman, and as a nurseryman, I know that we could put things on our product, on our plants. Everybody can put something that's going out from their farms or from their produce source in the way of a label. Here's a label similar to what I think should be going out on each of our items. For the strawberry guy, you might put, these strawberries will not be available in a few years if we don't build a waterway to the state water pumps and additional reservoir storage. Help us keep strawberries on your table. Only you can vote for the waterway and the reservoirs that'll protect your food and keep the cost down. Each person eating strawberries today will read that. Each of the housewives have a lot of power, more power than we think. And folks, if each of us put some kind of a label on what goes out for our farms and reach the people who are going to do the voting, not other farmers, but the people that can make the change, I recommend that we can see the vision in 2030 and beyond of agriculture continue in a healthy way in California.
Obviously, there are many challenges to achieving the vision that I've spoken of. Mainly, there seems to be a lack of political will to fix the state water supply, with many feeling that we can conserve our way out of this. We cannot, and we cannot survive without sufficient water.
I am impressed with the backgrounds of all of you who are farmers, and part of my vision for the future would be that a farmer would be the governor of California. I can think of no better person to be the governor than a farmer, because a farmer knows what it's like to meet a payroll, to take risks, and to do the most important thing in our society, which is to create the food.
We don't have the luxury in California of only worrying about feeding Californians. We feed the world, we feed the nation, and so in our drive to be sustainable and to be green, which we support, we've got to do it in ways that allow us to continue to feed the world.
I hope for a place where our produce will be completely safe from any type of contamination, and a day when the flavors we remember from our childhood will be the norm and not the exception.
Thank you again for taking the time to work with those of us in production agriculture to look at the future of the ag industries in our state. Let us develop a strong vision so that my kids and future generations will have the option to stay in agricultural production. Thank you.